is, let's turn on the snap to grid first. Right? It's kind of like Rhino, AutoCAD, you get all the same thing. And then you want to display, right? You want to turn on the grid. By default, it should on, I think. So let me turn on the grid. If you do want to control the dimension of the grid, you can go to the setting box. Is like this tiny square here. If you click, you can see here is the dimension for the grid. All right, so I will leave this as the default. Of course, you can change. But you might ask what exactly the dimension is, right? Is this the units is inch, foot, or meters? The quick way to check that out is from actually this window, pre-reference, setting pre-reference. And here you can see the setting by default is centimeter. Okay, so I want to show you this might not be a problem at the beginning because we're not really doing the accurate dimension in Maya at this point. And I prefer use Maya as a conceptual modeling tool rather than as accurate modeling program because compared with AutoCAD, it's still very difficult to input dimension in Maya. See, if you want to create a box 12 feet 6 inches, it's much quicker to do that in AutoCAD compared with Maya. Maya can give you a rough dimension, but it's hard to snap accurately. All right. Also, if you transfer this model from Maya to AutoCAD or Rhino, you can always set up these factors to transfer. So you can set up 1 centimeter equals 1 foot. It's very easy to do that when you transfer file. Okay, so I will leave everything as a default. So now I turn on the grid, right? So that means now if I go ahead and create a box, box, you can see the box is kind of snapped, right, based on the grid. You can definitely see that. You can also snap objects by use alignment. I think probably not a good idea to show today. It's kind of a little bit hard to use, but I can show you right now. Is here snap together tool, or you can use align elements. Okay, so I will leave this to you guys. You can try this later by yourself. Right now, I think not spend too much time on that. Okay, so it has some function here. Oh, since we are doing the video recording, I think why not I show you different display mode. I think this is actually really useful. If you guys got used to 3D modeling program, you will know, right? Switch from one single viewport to 4 viewport is very, very useful. Sometimes if you want to move objects up and down, this is a quick way. Right? Just switch to the front view. Then you can move the objects or scale objects right here. It's much easier. Besides this single view and 4 view, another quick way to switch the view is actually use spacebar. If you use spacebar to click, to hit the spacebar, you can maximize that view as a full screen. See that? Spacebar again, you can go back. Okay. You can also turn on. Let me turn off my animation button. I think I don't need this this button right now. Never mind, I can turn on this way. Window outline. This is a really good window you can have. It basically gives you a list of all the objects in this Maya file. Window outliner. I use that a lot. especially if you deal multiple objects. This is a quick way. You can actually see everything here. If you click, you can see the highlight. Okay, so window, outliner. And sometimes I will rename the file, rename the objects, just make it easy to be remembered. You can give whatever name you like. It's very convenient. Outliner. Outliner will also allow you to group objects. If you have multiple objects selected together by holding the Shift key, you can go ahead, edit group. In the menu, edit group. You can also use the Control G. That is a quick way. Control G is a shortcut for group. So if you group objects, now you can see the objects right inside. Right? That means if you rotate the group, all the objects will rotate together. Very cool. Right, so for us as a designer, we want to build relation, right? Like the legs of the chair is a part of the chair. So when you rotate the entire chair, all the components just go with it. I don't have to do this individually. For the building, maybe the window is associated with a wall. So when you scale the wall, all the windows going with it. Right? You could break this group, if you like, by ungroup. So it's break apart into individual objects. Okay. So basic one. Yeah, I think this is very basic stuff about Maya interface. Group, ungroup. So let me talk really quick how you can create something really interesting from scratch. All right, so I will start with a new thing. And I'm going to, let's see, I want to create a lamp. Right, in a few minutes, let's do that. So first thing I'm going to do is I will create a cylinder, right? That's pretty simple. I use number 5, switch the display to shading display. And then let's take a look at all the channels on this side. So here I have translate XYZ. I can give to 0. So it's going back to the initial. Rotation XYZ, scale XYZ. Right? You could type this number directly here. Let's see, 2 for scale. So if you want to do something accurate, 1.5, you change the scale right there. If you did not see this channel, you have to click this tiny button in the corner. Sometimes Maya will hide these channels. So this is your property channel. In the property channel, you also see there is input nodes. Input. Okay. Under inputs, you have the original name of the objects. The name is a cylinder 1, whatever name. Under these nodes, you'll see all the parameters. This is the beauty about parametric design. It's different from Revit, different from AutoCAD. Everything you create in Maya is remembered in the history. So all the actions you did is remembered in the history. So input is actually the first action in the history. And this node is related with how you want to define the dimension of the objects, how you want to subdivide the objects. So for example, subdivision along height, let's give 10 here. You'll see 10 subdivisions, right? Subdivision along the cap, right now is 1, let's give 2. You'll see a ring here. See that? So this is the first control in the history. You can also give the radius and the heights right here. All right, so I think I'm pretty happy with the current cylinder look. Then I'm going to switch to the view. So I go back to my full viewport. I'm going to do some manipulation. So I right click the front view. I will choose vertex. Right click, vertex. So you can pick up some vertex, right? So we'll select by window. You actually select a range of the points. Then I can scale. See what happened? In the 3D view, you can see the points will be shrinked, right? Very easily. Try the QWER, right? Hard key. So you can move these points up. Select these points. You can move these points up a little bit. You can use R to scale. So scale a little bit. At the bottom, I will pick up this guy, scale up a little bit, move down. For this guy, I will move down a little bit, right? So very quickly, you can create a lamp like this, just by manipulating these points.
Where did you go to create the extra ring?
In the history, right, in the input, you click this polycylinder. You'll see the subdivision caps. Change that number from 1 to whatever. You can see the result update. Okay. So one thing you notice is in the history, it's always better you define this value first and then manipulate the points. After you manipulate the points, you don't want to change this number again because each point has an ID. If you increase the density of the subdivision, right, you get more points. These points will mess up with the ID of the old points. So you will see some weird effects. For example, if I change my subdivision from 20 to 40 now, that is the lamp looks like. It's totally messed up because you have new numbers of points. It does not match with the movement, right, of each point anymore. So do this at the beginning and then manipulate the points. All right, so I will give you 5 minutes just to practice, create something simple and then manipulate the points to make it look like something different.